Okay, welcome back, everyone, as we learn our second daf on our Matzu Shabbos super marathon, and we are holding by the Amar Rab Chia Bar Abba, 3 lines from the bottom of daf Kuv Vav Amid Beis. Amar Rab Chia Bar Abba, Amar Rab Yochanan. Rab Chia Bar Abba says in the name of Rab Yochanan, Hatoyin Tanas Ganav B'Pikadon, if Marshall claims that it was stolen from him. So here again, Rabbi Yochanan throws us an interesting legal twist. Einoi chayev at sheyichbar b'miktsas v'yoyde b'miktsas. Marshall is only chayiv unless he denies part and admits part. That means if I say that I gave him the kaishel aliyo and the tats and the plate under the kaishel aliyo, he's only chayiv if he admits to the kaishel aliyo and he says, "You never gave me a tats." My timer. The amakra, because the pasuk says ki hu zeh. Marshall says, no, this is it. That means that he's admitting to something and he's denying something. So he admits that I gave him the kaishel yo, but he denies about the tats. So then if he swears and he then ate him come, he has to pay kefil, etc. Says the Gemara, Upliga de Rab Chia bar Yosef. And this is in opposition to Rab Chia bar Yosef. The Amar Rab Chia bar Yosef says, Eruv Parshiyos Kosav Kan. There's a mixture of Parshiyos over here. So although the subject matter is primarily talking about a custodian with a deposit, when it says over here, Kiyuzeh, it's talking about where I gave a loan. I gave Mark a loan. The Ksiv Kiyuzeh Amilvahu Dichsiv. And the only time that Marsha will have to pay but the only time that Mark will have to take an oath is only if he admits to part and he denies part. This is, of course, what we all know is the sugya of Maida B'Miksa. So if I ask Mark, I tell Mark he owes me $1 million, and he admits to $500,000, so then he has to swear. But if he says he doesn't owe me anything, he doesn't have to swear. Dichsiv, why by a loan do we say that he has to swear only if he's Maida B'Miktsas? Kidder Rabba. It's going according to Rabba. The Amar Rabba, why does the Torah say Maida B'Miktsas Atayni Yeshava? That Mark only swears if he confesses to part of it, because normally there's a chazakah that a person can't look in the eyes of somebody that gives him a loan and deny it. I did him a big favor. He can't deny it. So if he denies the whole thing, we say that he probably doesn't owe me the money. He probably doesn't owe me the money, because a decent human being, Mark is a decent human being. He can't look me in the eye and say that he doesn't owe it if I gave him a loan. And the truth of the matter is, Mark doesn't have the money. He would like to deny the whole thing. And that which he doesn't deny the whole thing is mishum de'inad meis panim. He can't do it. A person doesn't have the gall. He wants to admit to the whole thing, but he doesn't got the $1 million. That which he denies and says it's only $500,000. He says if I admit to the $1 million, Tavali Bikule, he's going to want the $1 million. I don't got the $1 million. Ishtamet mia hashta. I'll try to, push it off. I'll admit to half. That his conscience lets him do, because he's admitting to something. And then when I get the other $500,000, Parana. Hilka, therefore, Rama Rachmana Shmuel, the Torah put a shvu on him, that he should admit to the whole thing now. But by a pikadon, since when I give Marshall the deposit, I didn't do him any favor. He has no problem with denying the whole thing because he doesn't have scruples. To the contrary, he's doing a favor for me. I didn't do him a favor. And therefore we make him do a shvuah even on the whole thing. Now, talking about this business of Moed B'Miktzas, as we're now heading into our 32nd Zoomer of the evening, this is really getting hot and heavy over here. I did welcome in Philippe. It's good to have Philippe joining us, and Mitchell Flom joining us as we are way over 1,500 blot, Rabbi Isai. From Brachas Daf Beis, I think, Yitzi, what is it now, 1,505?
Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. It's we're way over the 1,500 mark towards 2711. You know, we're
right, it's 1505.
1505. I mean, that's amazing, Rabbi Isai. It's absolutely amazing.
Who's counting?
And I want you to know, Rabbi Isai, that with the help of Hashem, we had a Zoom daf on every one of those 1505 blot. Hashem should continue it for many times Shas. I don't think for myself, I don't think it's really physically possible, except that it's the tremendous schus of the Olam. It's absolutely, this is a wonderful Olam, and the Olam has a communal schus, as we welcome in Zalmi Kohn. So the Gemara says, as we start the bottom line of Kuf Zayin Amar Aleph, heading up, just the evening is just starting, as we're going to learn a real exciting chok tonight, real exciting about the different stones on the Chayshin, all kinds of interesting things. The chok about kas and what happens to you neshama when you get angry, and a musar about atzvus. It's a really an exciting chok. You don't want to miss it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro.
Amen.
Tani Rami Bava Kama, our boss Shoimrim, 4 guardians, Srichen Kfira b'miktzas v'Ida b'miktzas. Now this is again a real big novelty. So that when I give Marshall something to watch, he's only going to be chayiv if he admits to part and he denies part. The Elohein, what are the 4 guardians? Shem Yechidim, where I don't pay Marshall. Vashoyel, where Marshall borrows it. Noisei Sacher, where I pay him to watch it. Vaseicher, and where he rents it. Amar Rava, my time at Rami Bava Kama. What's the reason that you need to have this admission of part? Shem Yechidim, in a custodian that borrows it for free, behed yiksiv beiki huzeh, that Marshall says, this is it. No, I only promised to watch the Kaishel Yo, not a tats. Shomer Sacher, the paid watchman, Yolif Nesina Nesina, Mishem Echinam. We learn how to Xavier Shav Nesina Nesina from an unpaid watchman. Shoyel, Vichi Yishal. It says the connecting Vav, connecting it to the parasha of Shomer. So just like by Shomer, it has to be only Moed B'Miktzas. So there also, Vav Moisef Al Inyan Rishon, connecting it to the earlier parasha. Soicher, well, it depends. A renter is either like a Shomer Chinam or like a Shomer Sacher. Ilaman Yom Shomer Sacher, Ayin Shomer Sacher. We learned out Shomer Sacher from the Gzeir Nesina Nesina. Ilaman Yom Shomer Chinam, Ayin Shomer Chinam, where it says Beferish Ki Uzeh. And by the way, we're just letting this go by. It's amazing. All over Shas, we talk about a Shomer Chinam. We don't say anything about that. It's only by Moed B'Miktzas. It's, really a super duper chiddush. V'amar Reb Chia bar Yosef had toyin tanis ganav b'pikadon. Marshall, who's had a very busy night, engaging in his customary skullduggery. So If I say, Marshall, where's my Kaishel and he says it was stolen, Einoi Chayev, who again, I'm telling you, we're letting Marshall get away with so many things. Einoi Chayev at sheyishalach bayad. He's only Chayev if he misappropriated my Kaishel Eliyahu. That means he used it. My timer. My timer. See how perfect I pronounced it? My timer. We thought it was skullduggery.
I want to know what it means.
Yeah. It's Marshall. It's a snap.
You gotta spell it.
It's Anyway, my timer. V'nikrev bal halabayis el ha'elikim. Marshall comes to the judge. Im lo yishalach yodai b'meleches re'eyu. And he takes an oath if he didn't misappropriate that which I gave him. Mechlal de'i shalach bayad mechayev. That the only time he's going to be chayev is not if he merely denies that he has it. He has to misappropriate and use it. L'meimer de v'shalach bayad askina. Now that's again a big chiddush. I mean, we would say, it's enough, where's my kaishol? He swears that it's stolen. And we find it by him. He's chayiv to pay kefil. No. He's only chayiv if he misappropriated it, if he used it. Again, I don't know, Marshall has some friends in high places. Says the Gemara.
Yeah, remember he wrote me the letter that time for coming in late.
Anyway, I was thinking of the devil. But anyway.
My cousin.
And if you think about it, that's Poshitar on the Pasuk.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, but it doesn't make sense. Why should he only be chayiv if he uses it? It's enough that he's chayiv that he's denying that he has it. Now, we'll see that the Gemara is not taking this lightly. Amalu Reb Chia ba'Abba Hachi Amar Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan says, no, if it's an animal, he's chayiv even by medes al avusa shanu. Even if it's standing by the trough, even if he didn't use it. So now the Gemara wants to know, did Reb Yochanan mean even if it was standing by the trough, or only if it was standing by the trough? Now you'll say, what am I talking about? Maybe if Marshall misappropriates it, he becomes a gazlan. And then he can't be chayiv kefil. So let's see it inside. Says the Gemara, Amalei Reb Zeira leRechia bar Abba dafka ba'imedis alavusa kamer. Is it only if Marshall didn't misappropriate? Aval shalach bayad kana. Once he shalach bayad, he acquires it as a gazlan, and then the shvuah will not make him chayiv kefil. Ushvuah lemahani beklum. Oidilma afilu oimedes alavusa kamer. Even, in other words, he didn't have to misappropriate it, even though Gedalia said that's the pashtus of the pasuk. Amalei, so he says, Zulay Shemati. I didn't hear an answer to this question. It's a good question. I didn't hear an answer. But Kiyoitze Shemati. But I heard something similar to it that maybe we could draw an analogy from. Am Rabbi Yochanan, Hatoyin Tainis Ovid. If Marshall swears that it was lost, he claims that it was lost, Vinishpa, and he swore. The chazer v'tanas ganav, and then he swears that it was stolen v'nishpa. Ubo edim potter. If witnesses then come and say that he has it, he doesn't have to pay kefil. My time. What's the reason? Lav mishum dekana b'shvua rishayna. Isn't it because once he makes the first oath that it was lost, he acquires it with that oath? And therefore, since it's his, the second oath wasn't right to impose on him. Amalei loy. The reason is the reason is as we explained, and we said earlier from Rav, that by Toyin Tanis Ovid, once he swears, he's exempt from paying. Because it says, V'lokach Bailam, Bailam have to accept that shvuah. And once the Bailam have to accept that shvuah, he doesn't have to pay. And therefore when he swears, he's not swearing on anything. Imar Nami, Amar Rabbi Avin, Amar Rabbi Lo, Amar Rabbi Yechanan, HaToyin Tanis Aveda B'Pikadon. If Marshall says it was lost, V'nishba, remember Rav says that if he swears, so I have to accept that oath. And even if even if witnesses come afterwards, he doesn't have to pay. And then because of Tantanas Geneva V'nishba, if then he swears that it was stolen, Bo'edim Potter, why? Because once he swore that it was lost, that's it. He's off the hook already. I accepted that oath. He doesn't have to pay. And we didn't resolve the first question. Now, Amar Rav Sheshes, Hatoyin Tanis Ganav B'Pikadon. If Marshall claims that it was stolen, Kevan Sheshalach Bayad, once he misappropriates it, Potter. Once he misappropriates it, he's going to be Potter from Kefil. When it says Potter, it means that he's Potter from Kefil. Right?
Oh, I thought I was off the hook.
Now, what's the reason? What's the reason? You understand, he's sitting with my Kaishal Yo, and he thinks he's off the hook.
It's a beautiful coat.
Now, my timer, because the Torah says, where does he have to pay kefil? Im lo yishalach yadai. My timer, Rachi Kama Rachman v'nikra balabayis elokim, im lo yishalach yadai. Ha shalach yadai, like Gedalia said, if he shalach yadai, he's potter, he's going to be exempt from the kefil. So the Gemara now asks, remember, Marshall as a custodian, when I impose an oath, he has to swear three things. We impose three oaths. We impose an oath that he wasn't negligent, because if he's a shomer chinam and he's negligent, he has to pay. So he has to swear he wasn't negligent. He has to impose an oath that he didn't misappropriate it. And shvur she'ena b'rishusi, and he swears that it's not in his rishus. Now the Gemara is, we're saying that if he misappropriated, he doesn't pay kefil. But the Gemara wants to make a comparison. My lav shvur shaloi shalachti biyad, where he swears that I didn't misappropriate it. Dumya de shvur she'ena b'rishusi is similar to a shvur that it's not in my rishus. If he says that it's not in my rishus, if we find it in his rishus, he has to pay kefil. He has to pay kefil. If he swears he didn't misappropriate, that he used it, he also pays kefil. Unlike what we just said. So the Gemara says no. Compare it to the case where he swore that he wasn't negligent. Amalei loy. Shvur shaloi shalachti b'yad, and I didn't misappropriate it. Dumah de shaloi pashati ba is similar to that I wasn't negligent. Now, mashvur shaloi pashati ba. If we find that he's negligent, he doesn't have to pay kefil. Because if he's negligent, he has to pay for the case, but he doesn't have to pay kefil. It's not a case of theft. Mashvur shaloi pashati ba ki megalia de milsa de pashati ba that he was negligent, potter me kefil. That he didn't misappropriate it, that he misappropriated, he has to pay, but he doesn't have to pay kefil. Just like in the case of negligence, he doesn't pay kefil. Okay, Rabbi said that was really, really, really a big mouthful. And
Can I make a comment?
No. And now, I'm sorry, but we have a very busy night over here. Although we love your comments, Rabbi Kranz, but we're going to go now into a chok. We're going to do the Mishnah Yomis after the chok, because I don't want to. The chok is so beautiful. Gedali, could I have the green screen?